Good evening, folks. This is Deb Delapierre, and this is a short take. Now, before I launch into what this short take is about, I know a lot of you folks on TikTok asked me to do something on Project 2025, which is the return of Donald Trump to office under authoritarian rule, that playbook. That video is now actually up on YouTube. Go to Deb Della Piana. It is the very last video I posted today. And I couldn't do it in a 10-minute video on TikTok. I just couldn't do the whole scenario justice. So it's there. Now let's talk about this video. We're talking about a special election in Ohio on August 8th. And on the surface, it seems like it's a special election about question number one only, which is, do we make it harder for the people to amend the state constitution? But there's a backstory to this. In 2019, the Ohio legislature and Mike DeWine passed and signed a 6-week abortion ban in Ohio. Now, this abortion ban is not favored by the Ohio voters very much. In fact, if we look at some statistics here, there is a ballot measure floating around out there in Ohio to get on the ballot for November. Follow me here. We have a special election in August, and we already have a ballot initiative that has gained enough signatures to guarantee access to abortion in the state of Ohio, literally writing it into a constitution, okay? We have a ballot measure that has a popularity of 58% to 32%. And it cuts across all partisan lines, okay? 1/3 of Republicans and 85% of independent women support access to abortion. So on Tuesday of this past week, Ohioans United for Reproductive Rights announced that it filed more than 495,000 signatures, 80,000 more than is necessary from 55 counties, which right now they only need you to get 44 counties, okay, to qualify the measure for November. So what pray tell, will the GOP now do? Well, they're doing it with this Ohio special election in August. When you can't win with the voters, what you try to do is stymie the democratic process entirely itself. So what they've done is they've come up with a special election to make it more difficult for these kinds of ballot measures to get on the ballot. So, as people have pointed out, these attempts are not new, but scheduling this one for August and having had several of the Republicans in the Ohio Republican Party state that this is being done to block the ability of that access to abortion legislation to get on the ballot. This is why they've done this. So there was a Suffolk University poll done there as well, and it finds that 57% of likely Ohio voters oppose issue 1, which means you vote no on it. And that's exactly what we're telling you to do. What this measure will do will make it more difficult for them to get people-oriented legislation on the ballot, not the legislation that comes from the politicians, but what comes from the people, their desires. And this is all about the people. This government is all about the people. That's what it's supposed to be. Make no mistake about that. So they will require more signatures, and they will require them to go to more counties than what they do right now. In essence, making it much more difficult to get something like this ballot initiative to guarantee that Ohio women have access to abortion rights on the ballot. This is, a very transparent effort here to stymie the democratic process and to prevent the people from having their say. And honestly, we should never make it more difficult for people to access the voting rolls or what it takes for them to change how their state acts and what their state acts on. When you sign an anti-abortion bill that is totally out of step with the people in your state, then the people should have a right to come back and counter that. And that's what they're trying to do here. And the Republicans in the state of Ohio are trying to thwart the democratic process entirely by making it more difficult for them to get these kinds of ballot initiatives on a ballot during voting season. And they, of course, scheduled it in the summer, the vote in the summertime, August 8th, when it's, not a very good time to get people to go to the polls. A lot of people are on vacation. It's summertime. People are chilling. People don't have this stuff top of mind, except in Ohio. So they expected a low turnout because it is summertime, but early voting has surpassed other early voting periods, okay? So for example, in Cuyahoga County, early voting has broken all the records, and they have requested 51,904 absentee or vote by mail ballots. So that number exceeds the total who voted by mail for the primary elections in August of 2022. So if it keeps going at this pace, Cuyahoga County, which is heavily Democratic, is on pace to hit 80,000 total vote by mail requests and more than 20,000 early in-person votes. And that would exceed the 92,042 people who voted for the August 2022 election, both early on and on election day. So that whole notion of scheduling for the summertime may very well backfire on the Republican Party, and let's hope it does. But now, let's switch to Florida for a minute, because that's another state where the 6-week abortion ban doesn't appear to be very popular. Now, let me just say this. The voters in Florida, the Democratic voters, had they come out and voted, could have made their lives a lot easier. But now they have to take this route, okay? So in the Florida ballot initiative for 2024, which would legalize abortion for the health of the woman up to viability, they need 900,000 signatures by February of 2024. They already have at least 484, 305. Okay? And there was a poll in 2022 that showed that 2/3 of Florida residents oppose a 6 weeks abortion ban, which has been passed by the GOP legislature, which has been signed by DeSatan. Okay? This initiative in Florida, if they can get to 900,000 by February, has the potential to shake up elections up and down the ballot on this topic. But my tactic is much easier than having to do this. Just vote these bastards out. The GOP has got to go. They will resort to almost anything to see that their goals are achieved. If they can't get the people to think their way, to agree their way, they will literally run an end around and try to stymie the democratic process entirely by now making it more difficult for the people to get ballot initiatives filed. There is no end to their hubris. There is no end to their desire for authoritarian rule. The only end to that comes from you and me, and we need to get this done. So again, let me talk to you folks in Ohio, August 8th, vote no on question 1. This will be up on YouTube tonight as well, and all of the backup material that tells you why you should vote no on 1 will be in there. Go and avail yourself of it. I will talk to you all later.